There's a reason I want to raise Steve and his particular skills. You know, you're looking at a truly exceptional obituary when co-founder Pixar Animation Studios comes third or fourth on the list of personal achievements. But given Steve's genuine visionary leadership, Apple wasn't just a game-changing innovator. It also brought its extraordinary products to market under the beautiful, clear, consistent and compelling Apple brand, as I'm reminded every time I pick up my beloved, in fact my life-changing iPad. The lesson Steve Jobs' career offers the UK cinema industry, if it's to remain as relevant and vibrant as it is today, lies in nurturing and dignifying its consumers. Take nothing for granted. Never for one moment assume that content and audiences will somehow connect by accident, by luck, or by osmosis. Stimulating demand in targeted ways across the age ranges is vital. The average age of the UK population has exceeded 40 since 2009, and that trend is only headed in one direction, that's upwards. All intellectual property markets are content driven, so effective growth strategies must consider both supply and demand. Who are films made for? How can they be accessed? In the right ways, and at the right time, and the right price. These are crucial and fundamental issues. Again, I go back to Steve Jobs and his career. These are the things I think Steve Jobs got extraordinarily right. I asked a colleague of his, actually a competitor of his, years ago, what made him exceptional. And he thought for a moment. He said he was totally consumer focused. It had to work for the consumer, or he just wasn't interested. There's another wonderful story. I work for the company that does the advertising for Apple. And that when the original design came in from Mr. Ives for the iPad, it was bulkier and it had a couple of bumps in it to accommodate bits of technology. And it was Jobs who said, literally sent it back to the drawing board and said, no, it's going to look like this, it's going to be this thick, and you just get the engineering right and put it inside. And that takes a very particular type of person. And I've got a feeling, this is my own purely odd thought, that I knew Morita at Sony. Not well, but I knew him. Sony never recovered from the loss of Morita, because Morita's standards and Morita's vision were what not just drove the company as an industrial powerhouse, but actually were its standards, its values. They were contained within Morita. And Apple will have to do a remarkable job if it's to survive the loss of Steve Jobs, because someone else is going to have to step up and hold the ring between design, between cost pressures, between the investment community, and all those other things that a company the size of Apple nowadays has to deal with. And I mention that because I was a film producer for many, many years, and that's exactly what a film producer had to do. It was always a question of balancing the dreams, desires of the writer, the director, with the practicalities of what you were going to offer the consumer, with the demands of the studio, and the cost implications of those demands. And it was finding a way through that by always trying to imagine what the audience was going to be, what kind of price the film could afford to be, and how you were going to locate enough of that audience to justify that price. No magic about this. Businesses are all essentially the same. And the film industry is in every respect no different. While I'm on this subject, let me once and for all try to nail an assertion that even in the wonderful world of the media industries seems very oddly out of place. It's the mistaken belief that in the age of the internet, distributors are or will be no longer needed. That you'll be able to reach out to your entire audience profitably simply by uploading your content onto the web. Anyone seriously toying with that notion needs to have their head examined, or they should frankly quit while they're behind. Because in reality, despite an accumulation of social media tools, there has never been a greater need for professional marketing and distribution. Yes, the internet is a fantastic postbox to the entire world. But audiences will continue to want, indeed expect, to be able to distinguish premium quality from junk mail. I know this is an ex-ad man talking, but I'll go to my grave believing that the provenance, the credibility, and the expertise to position and promote specific content distinctively will remain as essential in digital domains as they've ever been in any other. Skillful and effective distribution, in and of itself, can dramatically add value to a movie. These core principles, I believe, will remain intact whatever the form of delivery. I find it more than interesting that in 2011 the size of the internet advertising market has for the first time overtaken television. Billions of videos are watched on computers and smartphones every month in the UK. And online advertising now accounts for over a quarter of the total advertising market. That's double the proportion 5 years ago. As I said, this is absolutely not a terrain for the faint-hearted. The FDA submission to the Film Policy Review majored on audience development. No surprise there, but let me very briefly boil it down to 3 elements, tracing a sort of line in the sand where distribution is concerned. First of all, audience development should be treated